Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Nasha Fitter, co-founder and CEO of the FOXG1 Research Foundation.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you for waking up this morning. I saw some of you from my window doing yoga on the beach. It looked very peaceful and beautiful, so I hope you enjoyed that. First, we wouldn't be here without the sponsors who have allowed us to be here. So American Airlines, many of you, we were able to cover your flights because of those miles. So they're an amazing sponsor, and they've been a sponsor for many years. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is funding the majority of this conference. We're really grateful to them. And then Amgen is a new sponsor that's come through this year. So thank you to our sponsors. Okay, let's get going. It's going to be a very exciting day. We're all very excited to be here with you. And first, I just want to thank the 4 people who we would not be here. So first is Nicole. Where's Nicole? So you all probably know her. Look, Nicole has had a very successful career in media. She's an entrepreneur. She's in music. She's such a creative person. She's foregone basically so much of that to dedicate her life to running this foundation and being here for all of us. And in her free time, goes ahead and writes a book like Joyfully Josie, continues to innovate and create. And I just, there are no words to describe how thankful we all need to be for Nicole really dedicating her life and energy to this cause. I will be forever grateful for my whole life. We have Angie, who you've just met, and from Canada. Angie's an event planner in her day job, thank God, and has really put this together. If any of you have been in our first conference, you will have really noticed the difference in quality. We have Brianna, our social media manager, the social media extraordinaire. Brianna, where are you? There she is, back there. She manages all of our social media on Facebook and Instagram and all of that. You've seen her around taking pictures. Her and her husband, Jonathan, have been really active members of the community and helped us put this conference together. And then last is Kate Lane. Kate, where are you? So many of our new parents will likely know Kate. She interacts with parents from the beginning. She is the parent lead support. And if you haven't joined her monthly webinars, I recommend it. They're cathartic, to say the least. She also does all of our other programming. If you have any other ideas for her, you want to help, please go see her. I'm sure she would love that. All right, and then we are global, and we have people from all over the world here, from Russia, from Brazil, from Mexico, from Italy, from France. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you for making the long journey to be here, some of you even with your FOXG1 children. We have sister organizations, and these are critical because in a small community like FOXG1, it's so important for us to all work together as a global community. And so these sister organizations fundraise for us. We fundraise towards the same goals, the same clinical trials. It's truly amazing. And I love, is Monica here from Spain, España? There's Monica, who runs FOXG1 España. We have Stephanie here from FOXG1 France, who will be speaking a little bit later. Steve Hill runs FOXG1 Australia. Unfortunately, couldn't be here. I know he's on video. Hi, Steve. An amazing supporter. He was here for the FOXG1 Research opening. Recently was on television in Australia, presented FOXG1 to the Prime Minister, really doing amazing work. And then we have a new FOXG1 Foundation, who I didn't have time to put their logo on. Is Maki here from Japan? Maki from Japan. And then while it's not an official foundation, I have to give a shout out to my girl, June. Where's June? Back here. So June is from Taiwan and has done an incredible job from day one fundraising for us. Thank you, June, so much. All right, so I know many of you. I also don't know some of you. I am here for the same reason you're all here. I have a child with FOXG1, Amara. Amara's 8 years old now. She was diagnosed at 9 months when she was having about 100 seizures a day, and I know all of you know what that feels like. And like probably all of you at that time, I was scared and anxious and depressed and all of those feelings. Of course, having a child with FOXG1 affects the child. It affects yourself. I had to let go my career and rethink everything that affects my entire family. That's a picture of them. It's my gorgeous husband, Oliver, who will be here later tonight, really the lifeblood of our family. And it is a scary time and a scary moment. And Amara was diagnosed in 2016. And at that time, we really had nothing going on in FOXG1. No one was working on a treatment. There was $0 put forward towards research. There was no understanding of the biology of FOXG1, what happens in the body, what cells is FOXG1 affecting. There was not even a model to test on. So I started talking to folks in biotech, and they said, oh, there's some interesting drugs. We should test them. Where's your mouse model? Where's your cell line? We didn't have any of that. There were no scientific meetings, and there wasn't even a patient registry. So there was no way to even understand what the symptoms are of our patients. So really starting in a little bit of a bleak time frame. But the beauty of FOXG1, as I learned, is that it's what's called a monogenic condition. It's one gene. And FOXG1 is actually, it's a critical gene, but it's a simple gene. It's a small gene. So the beauty of that is that you could do a lot to modulate that gene and correct the gene. And so this was the silver lining, that something could be done. And then I started learning about other conditions that were further ahead from us. So SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, is something that many of you might have heard of. Children are passing away by the age of 2, a really tragic condition. Thanks to genetic therapy, children are leading full functional lives. Here's a girl with SMA who is actually from Florida. Nicole knows her mother, and look at her embracing the world. 2 other conditions that are really similar to FOXG1 syndrome is Angelman syndrome and Rett syndrome. They're bigger organizations, are further ahead than us. We've learned a lot from these foundations. Both of them are in clinical trials. I actually happen to know the mother of a child in the Angelman trial who, at the age of 8, looked at her mother for the first time and said, "Hi, Mama." So this is not science fiction. This is actually happening. Rett syndrome, we know from what's been reported that children who have been in wheelchairs are getting up and taking their first steps. So genetic therapies are transformative. They're curative if you know the gene, and we are lucky that we do know what that gene is. All right. We started the foundation. I was very fortunate that I met Nicole, I met folks like Sue, I met Christine in Switzerland, and a bunch of other parents, and we decided that if others could do it, we could do it too. And we started the foundation. And our foundation is really based on 4 pillars. We've already talked about parent support that Kate Lane runs, and it's important that we are here for you, and we are honestly all here for each other. Tomorrow, there's going to be a number of breakout sessions that are actually run by parents who are using their professional backgrounds to help others. And that is the beauty of a small community, that we can all do that. Second is we've built some really innovative platforms. Ellie, who's going to be presenting later today, Nikhil, who couldn't be here, a FOXG1 dad from Atlanta, have built and created some really innovative platforms to collect patient data, as well as animal data, cell data, and start to find correlations. And then last is, of course, our science work. We've created an entire preclinical lab that Sue runs at the University at Buffalo, and we have a virtual biotech that Guy Ailon runs, and you'll hear from him later, our Chief Drug Development Officer. So these are the 4 pillars that are the meat behind our foundation. Okay, 2018. We had our first meeting. So you see this meeting here today, lots of people. These are all the people that were in that first meeting. It was 2 hours long. It was at the Society for Neuroscience meeting in San Diego, and we just had enough money to rent space for 2 hours, and we all got together. There's Sue on the podium, and she was literally making a plea. It was hysterical. That she's trying to, make FOXG1 sound like this super sexy, exciting gene and getting scientists to be interested in it. We had parents there from all over the world, and that's how we started. And at that point, we were just building our first mouse model. All right, here's where we are today, 2024. We've gone from $0 behind FOXG1 to over $10 million. And that's because of all of us fundraising. No government or pharma company has come down to save us. We have saved ourselves. I cannot believe that I'm on this podium today, finally able to say the words that we have developed our first gene therapy. I actually cannot believe that these words are coming out of my mouth. And that we are actually working towards our first clinical trial. And it's in eyesight. You know, 5 years ago, we were doing work, and there were days that I would just say, like, is anything going to happen? This is so slow, this is so hard. And here we are today with line of sight. It is truly, truly incredible. We have now over 10 mouse models and cell lines. So when a company comes to us and says, hey, we want to try a drug, we're like, sure, here you go. And this has really jump-started, and there are organizations now looking into FOXG1. We have our FOXG1 Research Center. There's a picture of Sue with over 20 dedicated scientists. Look, in the rare disease field, it's really difficult to get a scientist to pay attention to your disease and to dedicate themselves. This is a problem that many organizations go through. You fund a scientist, it's one of 10 priorities that they have. They don't really care, you're a small disease. We are so, so fortunate that Sue, A, is a brilliant scientist, and B, has a child with FOXG1 and has dedicated her career and her life to really studying this disease, and that is how we've been able to accelerate. We've had 6 conferences around the world. We're going to continue to have more. We have our patient registry. If you are not signed up for the patient registry, please do so. There is no other way for us to understand the symptoms of all our patients. It's really important work. We have a natural history study. Ellie is going to go through the clinical findings. It's unfortunately right now only available in the United States. We will be expanding it. If you are in the US and you haven't signed up for it, please talk to me and Ellie and we can tell you how you do that. And Ellie and Kopika today are going to go through the findings from this. And it's exciting because it's all of our data that they'll be sharing. We are not just a Chan Zuckerberg Initiative grantee, but we are actually named as a partner and a mentor. And I believe we're the only small rare disease group that are named like that. And then we've spoken at the White House, we've spoken at South by Southwest, at the NIH, at a million places because of the work we're doing to actually innovate in the rare disease space. And this is what we were really faced with when we started the work with FOXG1. The top line is what it takes to create a drug. This is the truth. It costs about $150 to $180 million, and it takes an average of 31 years. When Ryan and myself and Nicole were looking at this, obviously, this is impossible. It's impossible to raise, and we don't have 31 years. So the reason we get invited to talk in so many places is because we have developed a novel way to create a drug. And this isn't a theoretical business school drawing. We're actually walking the walk. And so our goal is within 12 years, and $25 to $30 million, which I know seems like a lot, but it's a lot less than $150 million, to have an approved drug. And this is really important. I don't like talking just about clinical trials because a clinical trial will have 10 patients in it. What we care about is an approved drug that is accessible to patients around the world. And it's a big reason why we have decided to do this work as a foundation, so we can control that journey. And so here we are. We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. Within 6 years, we have developed a gene therapy. This is true, this has actually happened. Instead of the 8 years it takes to run a natural history study, we've created an innovative way to collect medical records and create a natural history study in 6 months. And by the way, that platform we created is being used by 100 other groups and companies now. So we've already innovated and disrupted the space. And now we're smack dab in the middle of conducting toxicology and developing our gene therapy candidate for clinical trials. I'm not going to steal Guy's thunder. He's going to go through all of that. And then we believe through the partnership we've created with the FDA that instead of 4 years that it usually takes to go from phase 1 to phase 3, we can do that in 3 years. There's a lot of things that we're working on, and we're going to need your help, and we'll talk about that today. The most important thing is that this foundation is not about me, it's not about Nicole or Ryan or Brahm or any of the people on the board. It is all of us. We truly did this as a team. Drug development is very, very hard work. Anyone who thinks they could do it by themselves is completely mistaken. It takes a team, it takes an army. And we've all come together to do this. And I'm so fortunate to be a part of this community and to have had all of you to support me all these years. So we have our race to a cure. Again, none of this is possible without money. So I'm a normal mom. I did not have a science background. I did not have a fundraising background. I push myself in very uncomfortable spaces every day to be here for all of our children. But we all need to be in this together. It's not my job to cure your child. It's all of our jobs to work together to do this. We have the Race to a Cure. You can create your own fundraising team. It doesn't matter if you raise $10 or $1 million. The point is, try to do something, because if we all do something, it will add up, and that is what's happened. That is how we've been able to get to the point that we are. Nicole will go through a lot more of this and all the resources we have to support you in fundraising. And I know everyone hates fundraising. I have friends who won't even invite me over anymore because I'm just asking them for money all the time. So I get it, it's uncomfortable, but unfortunately, this is the reality. All right, today we have a super, super exciting program. We're gonna start with a really inspirational keynote speaker who I'll introduce in a minute. Then we're gonna go through the gene therapy we've developed, as well as a couple other programs that are in the pipeline, and Sue and Guy will go through that. Then we're gonna go through the findings, as I mentioned, and Ellie and Kopika will take you through that work. And again, that's all of your data that they're sharing back to you. Then we're gonna go through our actual clinical trial that's upcoming. What does it mean? What does participation look like? What do you have to be prepared for? Then we have our clinical sessions, which are gonna focus on the things that matter most to us: seizures, GI, and sleep. And then, for the first time ever, we have a FOXG1 child who was diagnosed pretty late in life and is in a wheelchair, AB right there, and can actually communicate. And I know this is pretty amazing for all of us. We've had videos about this online. So AB is gonna be here to talk to you, to tell you what it feels like to be a child with FOXG1. It's gonna be a pretty phenomenal experience. Then we have the phenomenal podcaster, Effie Parks, who's gonna close us out. And then Nicole will take us up to dinner. And we have a beautiful dinner planned tonight at the terrace upstairs. So it'll be a really lovely day. I would like, before we bring our keynote speaker up, to introduce you to Tom Horton. So some of you might have met Courtney and Zach, who I think are sitting right there, if you guys can wave. So Courtney and Zach are here on the East Coast, have been really supportive members of our team. Zach's father, Tom Horton, is on our business advisory board, and I think it's been about 3 years now that you guys have been involved. Came into the foundation and really helped us elevate the work we're doing. Tom was the former CEO of American Airlines and turned it around, so pretty big job, and his influence on us has been considerable. He's a partner at Global Infrastructure Partners, and then he's on the board of some companies you might have heard of, like Walmart and GE. So we're really inspired and excited to have Tom, but most importantly, Tom is one of the kindest people that I have ever met. He's the grandfather of Gianna, and he has really made this his mission. So I would just love to introduce you to Tom and have him say a couple words.